Welcome to the People and Performance Podcast, offering tips and expert insights into the strategic capabilities, behaviors, and results needed to grow and sustain employee performance.
In this People and Performance Podcast, we discuss the role that L&D plays in organizational performance. Listen as we also consider what it takes for an L&D professional to play a strategic role in an organization. Chris and Bill are joined today by Alex Tosevich, L&D expert and head of product at the Academy to Innovate HR. Having worked in various L&D roles at a number of global organizations, Alex has now shifted to leading the product development at AIHR. He has a passion for digital learning. In particular, how digital can be used to help behavioral change through experiential learning. Enjoy this conversation and remember to check out more episodes.
Alex, welcome to the People and Performance Podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here.
Alex, let's start with a big question for you. In your opinion, what role does learning and development play in organizational performance?
I think that if L&D takes a strategic role in an organization, it will be of great impact to it and to the performance of organization. And I've also went through some statistics and in the Learning and Performance Institute research that they've compiled, 57 of employees in their research said that L&D was somewhat happy. The employees were somewhat happy with the functioning of the L&D organization. And that often is because implementing a really effective learning program that will hit the performance targets of the company or will really help people to develop that is quite hard, and it requires more skills. And I think what is happening with the L&D organization is that not enough emphasis is put on the importance of business acumen and business skills of the L&D professionals. And this is important because it helps an L&D professional or anyone who's actually in charge of L&D in an organization to really speak the language of the business. And here I mean understanding your business from the perspective of going to go see visits with your sales team, understanding what the marketing team is doing, and really being with the employees to understand where the problems are. And that's the only way we can really start the learning process properly. If we talk about what starts the learning process is the needs analysis. And when you are a part of the organization, understanding what the pain points of your employees are, talking their language, and then communicating that to the board or to the management team in an effective way using the voices of the employees is really going to put L&D as a strategic priority as well. And you as an L&D professional are able then to articulate how you're going to help company perform in the end.
Let's get some more tips for L&D professionals, if you don't mind. What do you think it takes for an L&D professional to play a very strategic, very important role in an organization? What are those characteristics? What is their background perhaps involved? And what are they having to do on a day-to-day basis to make that difference?
I think that's an excellent question, and I wanted to continue on the business acumen. This really means partnering. Let's say if you're building a program for your CX team or customer experience, that you shadow some of the work environment, work things that they're doing at the moment, and to be able to see where the friction is happening. Really being in line and in synergy with the other departments in the organization, which means that you understand from the HR business partners what the frequent issues are, or you're partnering with managers to understand where in the process are the issues happening. And another really important thing is when you have a good understanding of what's happening in the business and what's the business priority, you're able to lift the L&D for being this training producing department in the organization to someone who strategically decides what is it that they're going to build. So as an L&D professional, you're often faced with different requests from different departments. So it's really difficult sometimes to understand what is going to provide the most value to the organization in the end. And so once you are able to dissect the processes and understand when is training or what type of intervention is necessary and tie that to business performance, that's really going to make an impact and be visible in the company results as well. So one of the most important thing as well that I would like to highlight is are the leadership skills of the L&D professionals. And here I mean, regardless if you have your own team or you are a standalone in the organization, it is really important to be able to mobilize the employees and the managers to work together with you on the employee development. I will give an example as well. I did a program a long time ago, and I was training the employees. In the middle of it, I realized that if the managers are not trained on the same things that the employees were taking part in, they will not be able to feedback on the skills we were targeting. So that's why I also did a program for the managers as well to be able to align both. But also for that to happen, I really need to prove the value of everyone sitting in that training room for several hours and prove the effectiveness of the training as well, which is also a very important topic for L&D when it comes to proving your value and that it is the learning that contributed to the good performance of the company or bad performance of the company in the if there was no training in place.
Alex, excellent stuff. So as you look in, you talk about understanding the impact of business, and you're looking at the concepts of interplay with different organizations with inside there. So sister organizations where there's a handoff of activity, or with the managers that are there. I know oftentimes it's tough for learning and development to actually pinpoint how they've impacted performance. But how do you go about measuring the impact of the L&D performance on the performance of the
Uh,
people themselves?
yeah, well, thank you for this question. It's my favorite one, I have to say. And I think here it all starts with, first of all, L&D being data-driven function at this stage. And for that to happen, for L&D to be able to measure, we need to design with data in mind. That means if we're designing a learning program, that we already think ahead, what are the moments where we want to design for data collection from the trainees, for example. If we want to do, for example, pre or post knowledge validation, and then understand what is the increase of knowledge retention before and after the training. However, we also might want to, let's say, understand if the sales training really contributed to the results of sales. And this is sometimes really hard to capture to see if the training was what influenced. So you can always do control groups in that sense. That means that you provide training for one group of the sales team and you don't provide training for another group of the sales team, and then you compare what happens, let's say, for another month with the results and what is the difference in performance between the two groups. This both gives you, let's say, enough data to understand what happened with the performance, and it also might show that maybe the training wasn't as effective as it should have been, or maybe it really gave great results. But that helps you as an L&D organization make a data-driven decision. And if you're talking about investing in the budget for the next year or spending more time taking people off work and investing in the L&D, you have a way to justify that cost and time investment. And also another important piece is understanding the rest of the data from the organization. At the moment, HR collects in several places and looking into engagement survey to understand what is it that people appreciate and what role does L&D play in the employee value proposition, and also why are people leaving? Are they leaving because they're missing development opportunities, or they would like to develop more, learn, or is it that they just didn't like some other parts of the organization? And in my experience, what I often saw was that people were leaving actually because they didn't see their potential realized further in the company or further career development opportunities. And L&D can play a strategic role there in employee retention and providing a sense of development to people within the workforce they're in at the moment.
Excellent. I appreciate that. So we have seen a lot of the effects from the Great Resignation, which occurred a while ago. In what way does L&D help overcome the challenges associated with something like that?
Yeah, I have just touched on this, and also we have talked about the impact of L&D in the organization, also in one of the AIHR certificate programs on learning and development. And also as a manager, I see here because I used to be in L&D, and now and I also had to enable different organizations on how to maximize the potential, what the managers should do. And now I have a team of almost over 12 plus people, plus a manager within that structure. And I try to, follow my own advice, and I see that it's working. So I really try to invest in people in terms of blocking learning time, having development plans with everyone. And that really works because the team that I have at the moment, I'm very proud of, is very engaged, intrinsically motivated, and they all feel like they're contributing something to the organization. Taking that example to an organizational level, I think that L&D should continue with the mission that they mostly have in organizations, but really understand and synergize with other departments to understand, where do our employees want to go, and where do we want to go as a company. And these are small things like having a process with your HR BPs where they collect maybe personal development plans with people, and then involving L&D to say, how can we make this happen? Who are the people we can invest in this year, and in what way, so that it's a win-win for both organization and the employee, aside from the hygienical factors that they get from their employer, such as salary, nice benefits, and so on. It's really L&D can play this role of someone who helps employees build a vision of themselves, their future selves in the organization, if they work in synergy with cross departments as well. If you're a small organization that's just managers and understanding and helping them build career paths and learning paths for the employees that support their career development goals, or if you're a bigger organization, it will probably be HR managers, VPs, and other functions that you collaborate with. And once people are intrinsically motivated and they enjoy their workplace, that really helps retain them, and simply they are feeling as a part of the company, and and they're staying within your talent pool. Versus if you don't, then it's really easy to sort of just compare the benefits from an employer to another employer, and base your decision making just on that.
Okay, thank you very much. One question that we like to ask all of our guests is from a culture and people processes perspective, what does a high performing company mean to you?
Well, I know that this is going to sound like I'm reading off of a bumper sticker, but I really think that employees as the center of putting employees at the center of the organization is something that will help organization as a whole. And by here, I mean taking principles that I've been reading about a lot of design thinking, road mapping, or training development. These all processes start with your client or employee in mind. And when we design with what makes employees in their roles thrive, the whole organization grows as well. And this is something that for me is very something that I keep in mind both as a manager, as an L&D professional as well. Is my focus is very much on how do I maximize the potential of everyone I have on the team. And I really diligently listen and serve the needs, and I connect that to where the company wants to go. So this is my take on it. It worked while I was in different learning and development roles, and it works in my current role as well.
Alex, how can we learn more?
So it's easy to learn more within our academy. What I really like about it is that even if you are AHR professional or L&D professional, or just someone who wants to upskill in one of the HR fields, you can easily find resources available within the academy. And as someone who worked in L&D, what I find really important is that not just that we have courses, but we have a community where you can actually find a lot of other experiences and advice on how different things can be implemented across cultures globally. And I find it one of the biggest assets of the academy as well, aside from the fact that we are continuously working on finding the best experts to convert into digital, easily accessible learning.
This is really exciting information and process activity that you're talking about. I love the fact that you're adding L&D into the real world of driving business results, which is where it's needed to be all along. So this is great information you've given to our listeners, and hopefully they'll take you up on the offer and learn more about it.
Yeah, thank you guys. I tried to sort of squish everything I wanted to say into this, and I hope the people will like it.
Absolutely. And that just leaves us to say for today, Alex, thank you very much for being our guest on this episode of the People and Performance podcast.
It was a pleasure to be here, Bill.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the People and Performance podcast. Follow us on social media and remember to subscribe.